Alright, so today we are going to begin to make this radial folded paper relief sculpture. It's a radial design, which means it has a center part and it's symmetrical all the way around. So no matter which way we cut the paper in half, on a diagonal, on a vertical, on a horizontal, it would be the same on both sides. So I'm going to show you two ways to fold your paper today and then how to arrange your folded pieces down on your black paper to create that radial design evenly. And this is one of the examples. So you're going to need a square black piece of paper, a white crayon, maybe some scissors, and a glue bottle. You're going to start with your black paper. You'll need to use the white crayon to write your name and the letter of your art day. You're going to flip your paper over and you need to find the center part of your black paper, the middle. So the way that you find the middle is by folding your paper in half 2 times. So I'm going to fold my paper in half this way, then I'm going to fold it in half one more time, and then these two crisscross folds find the middle exactly. But that limits me to only working on the vertical and horizontal. I might want to work on the diagonal. So I'm going to fold my paper 2 more times, like a taco, to create that diagonal. So I will bring opposite corners, this corner to the top corner like a diamond. And when you fold it in half there, you get a nice large triangle. You're going to fold it in half again, going the opposite direction to get a smaller triangle. So now when I open up my paper, I have vertical, horizontal, and then the 2 diagonals, so a T and an X to work with. Now there are 2 kinds of ways that you can fold your little square papers. I've cut a whole bunch of different colors of 2-inch squares, and what you want to do first is decide which fold that you want to work with. If you want to work with a kite fold like this shape, you're going to need 8 of this. If you want to work more with a triangle shape with the little tabs like this, you only need 4 to start with. So I'm going to start one with the kite shape. So that means I need 8 squares. So I need to find 8 pieces of the same color paper. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 1 extra here. And you're going to need to start folding those. So the way that you fold the kite shape, let me zoom in so hopefully you can see the square a little bit closer. You're going to want to fold the square in half like a taco. So you're going to turn it on a diamond, bring opposite corners together. You want to line up 2 of your sides and then crease down the middle. Now, I cut these squares, so I don't always cut them perfectly. So on this instance, you can see I have a little flap there. This is where your scissors come into play, when you need to just trim a little bit of that off to make it a nice, perfect square. So to do the kite fold, you fold it in half to find the middle. And so now I have a crease line down the middle. Now I'm going to take one side of my square and I'm going to bring it up to the middle line. And then down here on the corner, it should be a nice sharp point. Then I bring the other side up and make the 2 sides meet right in the middle. They don't overlap, but they butt up right against each other. And I crease that. And this is why I call it a kite fold, because if you flip it over, it kind of looks like a kite shape. So that's the way that you fold these. And you'll need to fold 8 of them. So I'll do it one more time just to help remind you. You start with a square. You bring 2 sides together or opposite corners together like a taco. And this one was cut much better. This is almost perfect, so I don't need to trim. I open up and I bring one side of my square in to meet that middle crease, making sure this makes a nice sharp point. And I bring the other one up to make the middle crease to meet. Make a nice sharp point here, crease it. All right. And I need 8 of these. So I went ahead and pre-folded some so you don't have to watch me fold 8 of these. And I'm going to get my black paper back out. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole paper. And now I'm going to start gluing. So what you do is you use the center part on your black and you use these creases to help you to line up your kite shape. And we're creating a relief sculpture, so remember you need to create that 3D, that pop up. And the way that you do that is these tabs pop up You don't want to glue the tabs down and glue this piece down flat. So on the back of your kite, the kite shape with the no flaps, you're going to put a little bit of glue, and then you're going to take the sharp point and you're going to line it up right here, and you're going to line the sides of these kite up with the creases on your black paper. So I'm going to make that touch the center part and line up with those creases on my black paper and glue that down nice and flat with the tabs sticking up just a little bit. So I have to do that 7 more times because I have to do it. I folded my paper 8 times. Now when I do my second folded paper, I'm going to butt it right up against the first one. I don't overlap them, but I put them right next to each other, so hopefully there's no gap. So I have to do this, and I keep going all the way around. In order to create a radial design, it has to go all the way around. So I can't just stop halfway through and decide I'm going to change something. So I keep going around, lining up each one in the middle, and then the sides touching or nearly touching. Sometimes when you don't fold perfectly, or when I don't cut the squares perfectly, they're not going to line up exact, but they should be pretty close. All right. All the way around. So I have one more to do. So that's the center, and I have created a radial folded paper, but a radial design, but this doesn't fill the black paper, so I need to do some more folding. So maybe now I want to do more of this triangle type of fold. So the way that you do that, and let me zoom in so you can see closer. Okay, you're going to start with a square paper, and you're going to fold it in half. Not like a taco, but in half, almost like a square, or you turn it into a rectangle, and then fold it in half one more time. And then I open up this last fold. I leave the open part down, and I take this creased part, the folded part, and I bring this down to meet the center crease. So this reminds me a lot of how you start a paper airplane. Then when I bring this other side down, I make a nice sharp point here, and these two flaps touch each other. They don't overlap, but they touch. And so then you make a nice triangle. The triangle that has flaps here, and it's flat on one side. So I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to fold it in half. Fold it in half one more time. And this is just to help me to find the middle. Open up the last fold, making sure the creases are at the top and the opening is at the bottom. And then I pull this straight down on one side, and then the other side, make it touch, and a nice sharp point there, so that I have these. And when you do these, you may only need 4 of them. It really depends. So if I were to take these triangles now and line them up around my radial design, I could overlap the triangle tips like this, or I could turn them and make them go in the same direction, almost pointing outward. It really is my preference, but since I have 8 purple pieces, I need 8 of these triangle pieces. So I have 8 yellow ones here that I've already pre-folded, and I'm going to glue those down. And when you glue them down, you just put a flip of triangle of glue on the back, and I'm going to overlap this first one, the 2 tips, glue that down with the flap sticking up because we want to continue with the 3D. And then another one, and glue that here. Now I want to be careful not to overlap too much or too little. So after I do the first one, if I put this way too far in here, then the radial symmetry will be off a little bit. So I need to be close. And you can see I have a little bit of glue mess here, and that's okay. I'm going to leave that because the glue will dry clear, but I'm going to try and make an effort from now on not to have that much of a glue mess. So sometimes you just put a little too much glue on there, but try not to continue to do that as you go around, so that you don't have an enormous glue mess. If you start to get all those little dirty glue messes on your fingers, wash your fingers, wash your hands with soap and water, and then come back and glue some more. You don't want to get the dirty glue stuck everywhere, especially on like the light colored papers. These light yellow papers, you don't want to get those stuck. So I'm going to make these yellow triangles go all the way around. And now I can decide what I want to do next. Do I want to do more little triangles going around to fill my paper up? Or do I want to go back to maybe the kite and put a kite in here? And it's okay if your pieces hang off the black a little bit. Maybe put a kite in here, or I could put 2 kites. I could do 2 kites like this and slide those into the back of the yellow triangle and glue that and make those go all the way around. It's just really whatever is your preference. So that's one way to start, is with the kite shape. I'm going to show you quickly how to start with just the triangle shape. So I'm going to set that aside. Here's a new square piece of paper. And now I'm going to take 4 of those triangle flaps pieces. I'm going to glue those down. And when I glue these down, again, the point should match up. And I could glue them this way, or I could glue them more this way. And if I glue them this way, then I would be following the T. If I glue them this way, then I'm following more the diagonal. And it really is just your preference. And then when I glue the next one down, the points again, just like when I did the kite, these, you put them right next to each other. You make the points touch the center. And you work your way around. And so this is the start with what it'll look like if you start with the triangles instead of the kite shape. And that's what it looks like. And then from there, you could go to kites. You could take your kite shapes that you folded, and you could take, you'll need 8 of them, and you can take and put them inside the triangle flaps, making sure always that the flaps are up, and you can fit 2 inside each triangle. And this is another thing. Or you could do more triangles behind the first triangles. If you find the triangle fold much easier and you struggle with the kite fold, then you can just pick one fold and stick with it. Or what I think looks nicer and more interesting is if you try both folds and you include both folds in your radial. But when you're gluing, make sure not a glue mess, and make sure all of your tabs, your little flaps, stick up to create that 3D relief sculpture. If the flaps don't stick up, then it's not a relief sculpture because it's flat 2D, it's not 3D, and a sculpture is 3D. And so this is the way to start if you were going to start with the triangles. And then from here I could decide, do I want to do more kites coming off, or do I want to go to triangles again? Or maybe I could do triangles this way. So I showed you how to start with the kite shape and go from there, and now I've showed you how to start with the triangle and go from there. In this example here, we started with the triangles, 2 rows, one of yellow, one of orange, and then we went to the kite shape with the green, and then back to the pink and orange with the triangle shapes. This example here is done only with the triangle fold. So like I said, if you only want to do one fold, you can. It's also very interesting to look at. You can see this person focused on the T first, filled the T, and then they went back and filled the X. But if you look, it's not exactly radial because these greens don't match up. It should be the same color going all the way around. So this is not radial, a perfect radial design, but it's an example of if you just want to stick with the triangle fold, that's what it looks like. And then here's one more finished example where we used red triangles first, and so you see the little red poking out here. They should be kind of folded down a little bit more. And then we went to the kites, and then we went back to the triangles, and then we put kites between the triangles. Instead of typically putting the kites inside the back of the triangles, we went between them. And so that's how you create your folded paper radial design.